out of the many Christian subcultures that have formed over the years, and there are many, one that is very distinctive is that of the Amish people. For most, when we think of the Amish people, we imagine people with old clothes, no electricity or TVs or phones, and a reliance on kerosene lamps and wood stoves, or those unique beards that don't have mustaches. They tend to have small communities with farms and a patriarchal rule separated from the modern world. Now, some of us might feel sorry for them, where others might be jealous of the freedoms that come from being outside of the modern world. They are split into three groups known as the Swartzentrubers, who are the most strict of the Amish, the Old Order Amish, which are the largest, and the New Order Amish, who are a bit more modern in their way of thinking. The Amish are descended from the Swiss Anabaptists of the 16th century. Now, it differs from Lutheran or Calvinist Reformation thinking in that it refuses to do child baptism. They also refuse to swear loyalty oaths or serve in armies, believing that the church and state should be separate, and are strict pacifists. Now, the Catholics and the Protestants at this time did not like this, and they do what they do best with the people who they declare as heretics, and executed thousands of them with methods that included drowning, known as the third baptism, burning at the stake, and beheading. In 1693, the Anabaptists split, with Jacob Ammon, who pushed for stricter discipline and the practice of what is known as shunning or mead dung. His followers became known as the Amish. They migrated to North America in the 1700s, settling mostly in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana. Their numbers have grown significantly since then, with an estimated population of 411,000 people across over 680 settlements in 32 US states and 4 Canadian provinces. Majority of them speak Pennsylvania Dutch, which is actually a German dialect for the most part, but also learn to speak English as well. Now, outsiders are welcome to join the community, but only about a third actually stick with their creed. So the Amish believe in humility above all and reject what is known as hochmut, which means pride, arrogance, and haughtiness. They don't build churches, instead they have services held in each other's homes on every other Sunday. The service itself usually lasts around 3 hours with prayers and hymns and sermons, and the host family will then serve a communal meal. Now, unlike the Catholic faith, Amish people get baptized as adults, committing themselves to God and the Amish way of life. Baptism is also required for marriage, and once baptized, they are only allowed to marry within their own faith. They are split into districts of about 20 to 40 families that follow what is known as the Ordnung, which are the rules of the church. Now, these rules vary from district to district because there is no central church government. They believe in a literal interpretation of the Bible, and this means that their code is a set of behavioural rules that they must strictly adhere to in accordance with the Bible. Now, unsurprisingly, of course, they would be anti-abortion, and they would see homosexuality as a sin, and expressing homosexuality can and usually results in shunning. Each person is expected to have simple lives devoted to God, to family, and to the community based upon their understanding of God's laws. Now, the rules that they follow are strict and must be followed by everyone. They are expected to wear plain, modest clothing. For men, broad-brimmed hats, suspenders, and beards after marriage, but no moustache. The women wear long dresses, aprons, bonnets, and their hair has to be kept long but always covered with no makeup or jewellery. One crucial rule that has made them famous around the world is their views on technology and modern life. They travel by horse and buggy, use kerosene lamps, wood stoves, or propane. There's no TV, radio, or internet, so they are not influenced by the outside world. Phones are sometimes allowed but kept outside the house. No personal ownership of modern conveniences that could lead to pride or weaken community bonds is allowed. The Ordnung rules are voted for and changed by the baptized members. When it comes to family, divorce is forbidden, large families are encouraged, and some people have up to 10 kids if not more. And children usually finish school at grade 8 and go on to learn things like farming, homemaking, or trades. They generally learn to become self-sufficient and have a lifestyle that has a community supportive system. They don't use insurance or government aid, and they support each other through mutual aid. The Amish rules are built around humility, simplicity, obedience, and community over self. They don't vote, drive a car, read the paper, or watch the news. Everything from the outside world is a threat to their communities. Now, while the Amish are often portrayed as peaceful and hardworking, there is a darker side that many aren't aware of. For one, if any member breaks the Ordnung, this leads to what is known as the shunning. These people are cut off from their families, their friends, and community support. Families are pressured to avoid eating with or doing business with shunned relatives. They can be shunned for weeks or permanently depending on the rules that they break. If a member decides to leave the Amish lifestyle, they lose all their family and friends, and this is quite authoritarian and controlling. Sadly enough, and this is not uncommon in groups like these, there has been multiple cover-ups of physical, sexual and emotional abuse within Amish communities. Sarah McClure, who is an investigative journalist, uncovered 52 cases which include rape and incest across 7 states over the past 2 decades. Children who spoke up against the abuse were silenced. Abusers are forgiven and kept in the community, and nothing is ever reported to the police. Many reports involve young children and teens being abused by relatives, neighbours or even church leaders. Some of these cases involve fathers, brothers and uncles of the victims. Amish bishops or elders often urge the victim to stay silent and the abuser to repent, which then leads to more repeated offences and no real accountability. Even when charged, the families of the accused will show up at the courthouse, often with the victim, and show their support to the perpetrator rather than the victim, who they would blame and shame more so. Victims who spoke up are often shunned or punished. Women and children may be told it was their fault for tempting the men. This culture of silence, patriarchal control and forgiveness without accountability often protects abusers and leaves victims trapped. And one example of such abuses was in Pennsylvania in 2019, where several Amish men were sentenced for sexually abusing minors. In one case, 4 brothers abused their younger sister over years. According to McClure, some women who report abuses are sent to a special Amish Mennonite mental health facility. And talking about one victim who, to her account, she says that many Amish women are sent away to these facilities and never have a life again. She calls them zombies because they have been medicated. And there are many other examples of these abuses, cover-ups that are hidden for decades from the public. Too much to talk about in one video, but one thing that is common amongst them all is the cover-up and the victim blaming. More and more victims have left the community and are speaking out, something that the Amish leaders are simply not willing to do. Now, one of the defining features of the Amish life is the patriarchy system they use. Men are head of the household and the final decision makers of the house. They dominate religious leadership, and only men can become bishops, ministers or deacons. Women are expected to be submissive to their husbands, fathers and church leaders. It states in the Bible, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 22, "Wives, submit yourselves to your husbands." Gender roles are also very traditional. Women are the homemakers, child rearers, gardeners, sewers, cooks and supporting the farm. They also wear head garments that symbolize obedience to God and submission to male authority. Men tend to be the farmers, the business owners, they do the woodworking and have roles in decision making and church leadership. They also have all the financial control. Resistance to this order is treated as rebellion against God. Women rarely own land or businesses, and daughters are raised under these strict gender roles. These rules apply across all Amish communities except the New Order Amish, who are a little bit less strict, where some women can work in businesses, but it's still a patriarchal system. Contraception is not allowed in most cases, hence why families end up being so large, because using it is seen as interfering with God's will. That's not being said that it is used in some cases. Women can find it very physically demanding having so many kids, which can cause so many health problems. But of course they justify this system because it's their literal interpretation of the Bible and God's word. They believe that's the way society should work. The healthcare is effectively non-existent in the Amish community. Most Amish avoid modern medicines and vaccines, which leads to outbreaks of things such as whooping cough and measles. Children with serious illnesses may not receive life-saving treatments because parents prioritize religious values or natural remedies over modern medicine. The Amish tend to have higher rates of certain rare genetic diseases like Ellis Van Creveld syndrome due to their limited gene pool. Now, in life-threatening situations, many Amish prefer to let God's will be done rather than use aggressive interventions. Preventative care isn't a priority either, so no screenings are done by them also. That being said though, their tendency to a clean living leads to actually overall better health. They tend to have lower cancer rates than the national average, which is mainly due to little tobacco or alcohol use. Even skin cancer rates are much lower in the Amish community because they use overalls when they work outside. Many see their community as wholesome, meanwhile internal problems like abuse, oppression, lack of freedom remain hidden. Many may see it as a great escape from the heavy reliance we all have in the modern world, but life for the Amish people has a lot of problems too that go unnoticed. Like most Christian groups, it oppresses women. They preserve traditions for 300 plus years, but this comes at a cost of personal freedom, especially for women, the LGBTQ individuals, and anyone who doesn't fit their mold. The sexual abuses and their subsequent cover-ups are just morally wrong. Although not unique to the Amish community, it happens in a lot of different religious groups, but they still deserve this criticism. It's not about mocking their way of life. They're entitled to live whatever way they want, but abuses should never be tolerated, especially on children in any culture, in any society. And this video isn't about hating the Amish people. They're an interesting group that choose to live in a way that most can't imagine. Like all communities, it has its good and its bad, its pros and its cons. And it also shows us yet again the power that religion can have over people and how it can control every aspect of life. But there is change coming. Many young people have secret social media in the Amish community now. Businesses need to use things like websites and emails to make money, and a lot of firms and retailers are using notes and coins less. So a cashless society could ultimately force even the most conservative groups of the Amish community to adapt to technology. But that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe as always if you enjoyed the video. And as always, let me know in the comments down below what you think of the Amish community. Were you aware of the community? Were you aware of the abuses? Let me know anyway what you think in the comments down below. I'm always happy to hear from you guys and to hear your opinions on the topics that I cover. That's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace.